Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. We have our channeled guidance messages for this full moon, and if you are a regular listener, you will notice on Spotify we have a video. On YouTube, if you're coming into YouTube, we just read this in another episode, but I'm going to repeat it since my listeners don't all follow YouTube. And so we're going to start with what I just got done. Be yourself. If you're coming from YouTube, you can fast forward a little bit. And then we're going to get into some more messages. And then we're going to have some more episodes depending on how much I can get through in this one. So the full moon, it brings to those of you who are in our 5D frequency and those who are mindfully and are spiritually living and loving, a burst of expansion from the heart, body, and mind. You cherish from within you the essence of blind faith and belief in yourself and your dreams. And so you're savoring every detour that has come your way, as you do see that it got you here. It has gotten you to be here because you have chosen that authentic self of you. So as you choose to be yourself with a whole inner child, no distortion, you are mindfully expanding and empowering the essence. And the essence involves a appreciation and a excitement to what you are holding. So it's always going to be personal, but you just know how much that inner child adult is enjoying being in your life. And so you're having a good time. So as you get ready for the last quarter of the year and you say hello to the new one, goodbye to the old one, right? You're settling into this version of yourself and you're planning the last few steps to begin this journey, the true self of you journey. Because if you had any childhood trauma stuff, you're unpaused, right? Okay, that's what happens when you have a whole inner child. So there's no distortion. Okay, there's none of this. You own all of your child parts and you're an inner child adult. So that's why you're rooting in what makes you happy, and you are moving into tomorrow with your inner child adult in the lead. You're building what resonates with who you are and what you want to leave behind as your legacy for the future generations and to support our lovely planet into tomorrow. You're choosing to nourish healthy other relationships. That means that you have people in your life who have healthy self-worth. That means that they know how to do this. They're playful. They use their mind wisely. They can see clearly because they know healthy boundaries like Pacha. So they know how to transmute emotions by having nice conversations, vulnerable, heart to heart, right? They're loyal to what they love. They're loyal to each other, their self-worth. Magic works through them and through you. There's no need to heal. Now we heal together because we're able to be in functional adult love language. So that means they're able to say how they feel, not be reactive. They're non-reactive. They're able to present whatever it is, their lens from their own childhood. That all depends. Okay, so earned secure attachment, or simply put, a secure attachment whole self. So every day you get to be with healthy self-worth people who have integrity. They're empowered, they're enlightening, and they know what true love means, and they know how to speak truth with equanimity. So you're growing these secure connections because they live true spirituality and mindfulness, which means that they are also building a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, just like you are. That's our 5D frequency with our lovely Jesus, Christ consciousness. Okay, so you don't have to believe in Jesus, but he's the reason for why I'm so honored to be in this 5D frequency, and I get to talk to you about it and how it feels and how amazing it is to have this always be in the lead. Okay, so every day you're growing more of these amazing connections, and the 5D frequency person or mystic, they embody and pursue integration of the brain, restorative embodiment, and secure attachment. That's why you continue to enjoy what comes next with all of your relationships. So my oversoul, it's expanded. Twin flames, soulmates, okay, they don't get cut. Living and loving with self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills brings forth true love. True love doesn't know separation. As the Rumi quote goes, we love from our heart, not from our eyes. The eyes are the people who are visceral, the insecure people, so they have a whole other, we're not going to go there right now. We're the ones who know what true partnership is I have your back. And even if you may have, like Cusco does to Pacha, even though you may have betrayed me, you didn't betray me. I understand you got emotional, some things happened. Okay, so we know how to repair always those which would be called by the sciences, therapist people, ruptures and splinters, healthy, self-worth people, we don't do characterological distinctions, we don't cast stones, we don't do judgments, and we understand that when people lack self-awareness and they have unsafe relationships from their first 3 years of life and their childhood, that it's going to take some time with a good therapist for them to be able to feel safe and to grow their long-lasting relationships from the heart, because it's still very scary for them, because they're reminded consistently of that which they didn't get as a child. And so their implicit memory comes up. But now that their core self, narrative, relational, and soul self is theirs, thanks to good therapy, thanks to the desire to build a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self, and wanting true love in their life, true partnerships, true herd members. Again, they choose healthy me and healthy you, and they know who to be around. So the 5D collective is here for that. We are expanding consciousness, we are reliable, we are enlightening, and we're conscious lovers. We respect and are curious about our differences, political, religious, all of it, because we also enjoy growing our intellect, in addition to growing mental, emotion, physical intelligence through self-mastery, which involves non-reactivity, and it involves equanimity. And you do that thanks to mindset, and mindfulness practices, which we do here at IHP with your very own, and some of you are going to be the one-to-one mentors, and some of you mentorship program. We also have our masterclass that I need to finish up and decide, and in the future, spiritual retreats. So write me, email me for anyone who will be interested in that. Be you, be mindful, be flawed, with integrity and love. I love you, you love me. We're in happy family and in secure attachment, functional adults. So what other people say about us doesn't matter. It's that we won't be ashamed about what we have done. We have integrity. And if we have done something that somebody presents us, will say, wow, I'm 44. I don't have shame button, never did, never will. So it's, I own this. And of course, I will be open to the conversation always. And that's why being yourself, it's not for everyone. Not all people want to live mindfully or spiritually, to love unconditionally, to pursue neutrality and duality, and be equanimous and open to infinite possibilities of tomorrow. But some of us do. And we are the harmonized feminine and masculine of ourselves. So with that being said, I will save the cards for another episode. I will conclude this one with a story. And the story is, remember my friend, the one that I did not talk to for 5 years? Because that's true love right here, my friend and I. And he's the only person that I didn't talk to, because he's the one who showed me what people who have abandonment, rejection, injustice, betrayal, and humiliation / shame wounds. So he showed me what an insecure person will do in an effort to not be rejected. Okay, so we can just say that any person who has the 1-year-old and 3-year-old and fears rejection, what they have is, let me give you this. For many people who have an abandonment schema, they view the world all about whether they are being rejected, left out, or excluded. So there's this fear. And my facade friend, and there's more than just him, but he definitely, to this day, not laughing because it's funny, he didn't reclaim his inner child. He didn't go and heal himself. No, he thinks he's living the highlight, like all the others who prance around with their insecure attachment, and that's why they follow fancy man with suit and fancy woman with suits. So the story is this, and if you're new, you don't know it. My friend, I invited him to start joining me and group that I was going out with, because I knew he was home vomiting after having been left from a 14-year relationship. So his biggest, most important relationship. I've known him since I was a teenager. So I know that he's vomiting because his friend, the only friend, my friend's an asshole. He's selfish. He's a clown. So I tease him, we tease with this, but he's an ass. He's a genuine asshole, because he's selfish. So I already knew that, but I also knew already as a teen, I knew about my oversoul. I just didn't have the mystic Claire stuff going on yet. But I knew that my gut told me who were my friends, and I've always felt lucky. To this day, I'm lucky. I feel like the luckiest person alive. All my oversoul, I love them. They all have contributed for me to be here today. So my friend, he's home vomiting, and his only friend tells me this as we're going out having a good time with women and men, and I'm in my late 20s and I'm seeing people be ridiculously in their shame stuff. Don't get me started now that I know they're all unhealthy. I just remember telling college women and men, why are you fucking if you feel lonely? Don't. And now I'm thinking, wow, they were even in therapy, some of them, meaning they're getting a bachelor's in therapy. What are you doing with that information? So that's why you got fancy man on screen talking to you about shame, disgust, and contempt when men fuck you and don't text you back, ladies, FYI, and women. I know you had to learn to make it on your own, but remember, one, if you fuck them, they won't marry you. Haha, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Two, open the door. Let him open the door. Sure, yeah, good boy. I'll let you open the fucking door. You better say no. You ain't opening no fucking door to me. Now, it's not about the door thing. When people feel helpless and hopeless, I'm going to give you the spin. Go to therapy so you can get out of that energy. Because me looking at a fancy woman, that's all I know. You still waiting for the Prince Charming, aren't you? That's your fairy tale. Mine's not that. That ain't a badass. That's a person who needs a therapist. So anytime I see weak people, quote unquote, you know why they're weak? They don't go and get their stuff online with Patrick. They're cowards. So I have all the compassion in the world. I don't like facades. In some facades, they romanticize the trauma stuff, but then they go looking for shortcuts. You're a facade. There's no shortcut. Even in my classrooms, meeting people who don't know how it works, they hear the experts explaining it. So I'm going to bring myself back to what I was trying to share with the story. So you want to be empowered, you go and get your emotional body online, and then you'll know what it feels like to be non-reactive and why it's not about no emotion. It's called equanimity. You know what happens when a person meets a person like me and they have no capacity to do this? I have no trauma charges in my eyes. I learned from my lovely therapist experts what happens with dissociative disorder people, the ones who have trauma charges. They don't like to look at me if they don't want to look at their self, meaning if they don't want to get themselves home. Oh, it's okay. They don't do anything to me because I won't notice anything because I'm exchanging them. Also, they won't notice because they shove it down. That's what happens when you armor yourself shut in and you're not paying any attention because you're doing unhealthy. Gonna go fuck, gonna go drink, gonna go do whatever it is. So you're ignoring whatever wants to come up because you're going having a good time. So you won't know anything about me. You might like me, you might not. It doesn't really matter. So people who are lacking the self-awareness when it comes to what comes up, they won't be looking at me that way. It's if I present to them something that they might not want to hear, that they might have an attitude. But we all meet Cuscos. So long story short, when I meet Cuscos, I know how to handle them. My friend, let me go back to my friend. So this friend of his doesn't invite him to come out. I say, give me his number. I call him up. I get him to start coming out. The first evening we're out together, I realized why the friend didn't call his friend, because now he got a competition, because they're both acting like roosters, wanting to fuck the same women. And I'm thinking, wow, find out later on that they both have equal shots. So let me leave that one alone, because I have been made aware of men and women who completely live out their shame and they think they're having a good time. Lust is a very small energy, all of it. And really, if they went to therapy, they would enjoy themselves better eventually, but they don't want to. They follow other people. So again, the fancy lady and man in suit, they're there for the people who don't want to heal. And that's their quote unquote solace. Go figure. So long story short, my friend begins to come out. He ends up lying to me about something that there was no need to lie to me about, because I'm his friend. I want his happiness. Because of this thing and him not taking ownership and wanting to throw another person under the bus, I just don't like to deal with facades. As I'm not a facade. You're my friend. I'm not pretending to be friends. So for 5 years, I didn't talk to them. Long story short, 5 years afterwards, there's shit going down. I know it. I'm beginning to have my clairs, and they reach out. And I say yes, because I got taught by God, by my mother, by anyone who's a decent human being, you don't leave people out to hang. And my friend, I know for a fact that my friend has no friends. His only friend didn't take him out, okay? So with that being said, we make up and become friends again. But the point of the story is that he denied himself to expand as those ascension energies came about. I noticed as he stagnated in his soul age group, he's happy, all that, but he's still playing out the same buffoonery that he was playing as a teen, as a young adult. And he's settling in, because obviously sooner or later you settle into what you're creating. And he's happy and he's living life like anybody else. At the end of the day, though, what I know is that when we revisited the conversations we had, he doesn't remember anything of what I said. So it was as if I didn't speak at all. And what I shared was something very important, because all I said was, I never asked you to be different. I asked you to be yourself. By the second time I'm having this conversation, it's for another set of important things. And that's when I realized he doesn't know how to be himself. He knows how to be a facade, political, whatever the fuck this is what he knows. And so he taught me not only how to handle buffoons when they have fear of abandonment, but also how to handle people who don't ever go to get healed and think that they know how to live. In fact, my friend, every now and then he'll say, you think you know everything, Maria? And he's the one who called me a hypocrite too. And that's all okay, because a facade is a facade to a person that knows what the difference is. You're not going to be offended because I don't have a sensitive ego, but also because I know how to accept differences like a grown-up. But also I'm attachment trauma informed, and what I can tell you is they're at that 0 to 8 year of life. So when I look at buffoons out there, what makes me today say, wow, they're all their child version with trauma. That's really sad. But you can't tell them that, because they distort everything with the same wounds. They don't want to go heal with the Patrick Chan. So they don't reclaim their manlyhood, their womanhood, their anythinghood. They're just living out shame in the lowest frequency ever. And that's why they think the highlight is when they're in their boxing gloves, because they think that's superhero, supervillain. No, not really. But you can do that. I'm going to go have fun with the big guns, quote unquote. No, the big people, quote unquote, no, the big hearts. There's no guns. We don't want the guns. It's a globe. We're not idiots. Okay, so we know that hearts can work it out. Why? Because that's unconditional love, and that's what grown-ups know. Non-reactivity, smartest brains ever. Reactivity, again, I can play with words just as much as anybody else, but I don't play with words the way these other individuals that I've been making fun of and will continue to do, because the difference is they don't hear what they're saying, but they also don't hear their what they don't like, because that's what ego does. It blinds you. Distortion. You're a 14-month-old. As long as and it's distorted, you don't hear shit. And your ears are flopped down because your frontal lobes are flopped down because you're in this. Okay, so as long as you disregard the smart people, you disregard the fact that you're dumbed down to the extent of not hearing words. When we do care about what we're doing, we hear all the words. And then we see if it makes sense or not. And if it does, okay, good. Value, great. And when it doesn't, well, I know who they're playing to, which crowd. And so with that, facades are always going to be copycats following Peter Pans around, and Lost Boys. They're always, I want to walk like you, talk like you. You'll notice it because they're small energy. We will be back, though, with more for the 5D Collective. Again, I am going to take a pause for this one. If you don't tune in to YouTube, my listeners, we might have some of what I'm going to share. For tomorrow is Friday, if I remember correctly. So I'll keep you posted on that one. In the meantime, again, thank you for all who are tuning in, and full moon. We're going to be back with more messages. Have a good one.